Well, guys, it's time for another spotlight, and the spotlight today is about, or shines on, the four survivors. We got 4 teams left that have made it to the third round of the playoffs. Always a fantastic time of the year. Let's start with the Sharyland Rattlers because, here's a team that is establishing itself and has been building the foundation as one of the Valley's best. You're looking at 52-8 the last 5 years. That's on a par with Harlingen at 55-10, the team that they beat and beat convincingly. Now, where does Sharyland go from here? I think if they have a chance to beat Madison, it's because they're athletes, because they have the video game, but it's also because they have a great coaching staff. Ron Adame's done a wonderful job. Joe Alex Leal has always been a great coach. He comes from good lineage. Rudy Gonzalez, has been a lot of talk about him in his last season. He's a good friend of mine from way back. It's a good group. It's a great group of kids. They can beat Madison. But I wanted to get that number out there. 52-8, I believe is what it was. When you're talking about marquee teams that people know upstate, Sharyland is people are starting to know who they are. So they can really make some inroads with an upset against Madison, and I think it's very doable. Now, you turn to Ed Couch in the second team of our 4 survivors. I really feel like Ed Couch pulled off one of the greatest upsets in a long time. Now, they go into the third round of the playoffs, and that's a place where they have been before. Here's the thing about Ed Couch that you have to keep in mind. Not only do they get in the playoffs 7 out of 9 years, I think one year they didn't, but they beat teams in the playoffs, and they beat out-of-valley teams in the playoffs. So if you're talking about who people have heard of, you go up to Austin, you go up to Dallas, they don't know how to say it very well, and they always kind of screw it up, but they know who Ed Couch is. They know EE. Listen, when you win a playoff game, it's nice. But when you win a playoff game against a team not from your area, that means that you're a good football team. Ed Couch has done it twice. I think PLC is still kind of rubbing their eye and saying, hey, what happened? We got smacked. I feel like Ed Couch has enough talent to win the next round. We're going to see whether they get that done in Kingsville. Now, as far as Port Isabel goes, me and the coach and all these guys, we're talking about it today. It's the old magic, man. It's the old school magic. PI, this is their best season since 2004, and that was one of the best. 03 and 04, they had some silly teams. You remember those teams. 47-4 from 79 to 82. So they have a lot of experience in making these great runs. There was a time, though, in 05-06 when Port Isabel went 4-6 2 years in a row and struggled to do that. They had to win a bunch of games at the end to avoid being like 2-8. So it was time for them to get back on the mountaintop. I feel like they really have done a great job. Special teams was great for them. They scored early. Listen, if you want to win a playoff game, guys, score first. Sharyland scored a ton. They blew them out. Ed Couch scored first and held it. PI scored first. Edinburgh North got up 14-0 against Harlingen South. When you get to the third round of the playoffs, you cannot start poorly. You have to score first. And what better way to score than if Kenny the Jet takes a kickoff 72 yards for a touchdown? Now, I feel good about PI. Them and Ed Couch are the old school teams that are back on the mountaintop, and it's fun to see. And finally, Edinburgh North. Listen, let me tell you what's good about that team besides being a 10-win team, because they're good. Their defense is awesome. And the team has a lot of cohesion and chemistry. I spent a lot of time over there with those guys, and I can tell you that Edinburgh North has a team of good kids who work hard. They're going to go up there and comport themselves well. They're going to compete, and they'll be the last team of these 48 to quit, even if they get down. So the chemistry, the coaching, the cohesion, just the overall feel in the Edinburgh North camp is very positive. They're happy with what they've accomplished, and they're going to go up there and see what happens against Steele. So this is the 4, the surviving 4, the sole survivors. And quite frankly, I feel like we could be back here next week, not talking about all these teams getting beat, but talking about some of these teams winning. Let's see how that goes. Spotlight is out for a week.
Welcome back from the break. This week's U.S. Air Force Player of the Week goes to Josh Vela from Edinburgh North in a huge win over Harlingen South. Because of Josh Vela, they are now in the third round of the playoffs. He was 7 for 16, passed for 116 yards, and rushed for 27 and threw 1 touchdown pass. Good job, Mr. Vela. All right, this week's U.S. Air Force Air Assault Player of the Week goes to Edinburgh North. Now, here you see Josh Vela drop to the right. He hits Eddie Sanchez in the flats, and Eddie Sanchez does the rest. He breaks tackles, reaches for the end zone, touchdown. Good job, gentlemen, and good luck in the next round of the playoffs. Now, this week's U.S. Army leadership goes to Roy Garza from Edinburgh North. Now, this is what happens when you make it to the third round of the playoffs. You got the Player of the Week, you got the Player of the Week, and you got the Coach of the Week. Good job, Mr. Garza. I'm sorry, Coach Garza, good job.
Well, we just try to stay together, big family. We spend so much quality time together, and we kind of grow on each other and just try to, we don't have any superstars. It's a lot of no individuals, and I think that we together have played better that way this year. Well, just one game at a time, and we've been fortunate to have a real good year, and we've had a lot of close ones that the team just came closer together, come from behind 2 or 3 times. It could have gone either way, and again, we just I think do the things for the right reasons and the right way, and we've been blessed this year. Well, we just kind of tell them that this is a game, but in this game, you see a lot of challenges and how they react. We like to have a saying that says that how are you going to act when nobody's looking, and that's what we want every day, to do the best they can, and these are life lessons. Yes, it's through a game, but these are things that challenges they're going to have as young adults, as adults or parents as they grow up.
Looking for a bit of indulgence? Look no further than the new chocolate chip frappe from McCafe. Every bit as delicious as the McCafe frappes you love, only this one has a bit more wow. Bits of chocolate chips in every sip. Blended into mocha and caramel, all topped with a double drizzle of chocolate and sweet caramel. You've never had a frappe like this. Better get your hands on one quick, because it's only here for a little bit. The simple joy of the perfect sip.
A lot of people don't know who we are, what we do. These girls showed up one day all dressed up, and they thought it was a dance hall. We wanted people to know that we're building materials. Mott's cash and carry building materials. People come in and they're surprised. Man, you guys have got great deals. I didn't know you was here. I mean, we've been here for over 40 years. And you thought the good old days were gone forever? We're still here. Mott's cash and carry building materials. It's not a dance hall, you know.
Copyright in Weslaco, home to all your digital printing needs in the Valley. At Copyright, you can sit down with one of our creative consultants to design that perfect program for your event. If you need a photo for that milestone time in life, we have the latest technology combined with endless creativity to capture that special time. We do photo enlargements, banners, and for new businesses, we can create signs, business cards, flyers, and more. Copyright in Weslaco, located on Westgate behind Walgreens. For printing done right, Copyright.
You are watching the Huddle from 956sports.com on Fox 2.
Thanks to the Harlingen South cheerleaders for bringing us back from the break.
Oh, shoot.
Who let that guy in?
These guys are everywhere all of a sudden. Time to do everybody's favorite portion of the show. It's the pick segment. And I personally would like to thank everybody who blew me up via text, email, Facebook messages. I think I even got one of Selber's smoke signals. Thank you so much for letting us know that Sherryland defeated Harlingen on Friday night. We couldn't tell. There was a doubt in the air. Now that we've gotten past that, let's get to another round of the picks. We will start off with Sherryland taking on San Antonio Madison at Corpus Christi's Buck Stadium Friday night. To the beloved Doc, we start with you wearing your Sherryland red.
Well, I'm about to say, better red than dead. It's an uphill struggle. Madison is the same team that beat Harlingen a round later last year. You know, they've got a better defense than they did last year. They've still got all those athletic stars. I would say the same thing that I said last year. If Madison's athletes all play a good game on the same night, you're probably not going to beat them. But I'm telling you, Sherryland is athletic as well. I'm not sure if Madison is ready for the video game, as I call it, that Sherryland plays. It's going to be a heck of a football game. I'd say Sherryland's a touchdown underdog.
With the highlight packages that we saw, Sherryland scoring both on the ground and in the air, there's no way that I'm going against the Rattlers on this one. I like them to upset Madison at Corpus Christi's Buck Stadium. Coach?
You know, Madison's pretty tough. They're a good football team. But you know what? I've doubted Sherryland before. I'm not going to doubt them this time. I'm going with the Rattlers.
We learned our lesson.
We learned our lesson. Yes, we did.
All right, next game Friday night is going to be at Kingsville. We like to call it the Valley North. It's got Ed Cowchelsa taking on San Antonio Brennan. Yes. Coach, the Maquina's rolling.
You know, Ed Cowchelsa has a lot of weapons. You know, they got Isaias Martinez, Eric Morales, Miguel Mariscal. You know, they're loaded in offense. They have so many. I mean, I left out Mark Garcia and Diego Garcia too, right? Isaac Martinez. I mean, they're loaded, and their defense is super strong. They're tough. Yeah. The defense is good. I'm going to go with Ed Couch in this one. They'll make it to the 4th round.
Taking Ed Couch over Brennan. How big was this victory over Port Lavaca Calhoun, a team that was ranked 8th in the state?
It was one of the biggest wins the Valley's had in a long time. And riding that magic, these old-fashioned teams like EE and PI are coming back into it in the 3rd round. I feel like Ed Couch has a good chance too. Brennan is undefeated. You know, they're 12-0. Their defense allows 12 points a game. It's a legitimate, good 4A team, but no better than PLC. I'm going to go with La Máquina, too.
All right, we're all taking Ed Couch Elsa on this one. On Saturday, we've got Edinburgh
Is that
North.
the kiss of death, though?
Well, it might
It
be.
better not be. All 3 take them. I don't want to do that. No good.
On Saturday, Edinburgh North takes on Cibolo Steel at Kingsville again. Doc, I'll start with you. Edinburgh North, do they have a chance against Cibolo Steel?
Any team that strides to the field has a chance against any other team. Is this going to be potentially a bad scene and a blowout? Yes, because Steel is good. Now, Edinburgh North, though, is one of those teams that, man, those guys have chemistry. They've got togetherness. They're just going to go up and play as hard as they can, and maybe some good things will happen early. But it's an uphill climb. Man.
Coach, what are your thoughts?
You know, Edinburgh North has had a real good season. I think they finished 3rd in their district. I've seen Steel play before. You know, it's a young school. They've been around for maybe 8 years. But they are loaded and they are tough. I'm sorry, I'm going to go with Steel in this one.
Friday and Saturday, I wore nothing but my Edinburgh North shirts that I picked up for MC and their pep rallies. I will not betray the Cougars again. I'm taking the Cougars in the upset over Cibolo Steel.
If you win that one, man, well, that's good.
Well, you know, it just makes me the smartest guy in the room at this time, doesn't it?
Which is not hard to do, unfortunately.
And Port Isabel is going to take on Navarro Saturday night. The Tarpons seem to be picking up the speeds, picking up the pace, and that seawall defense is just crushing opponents.
All I can say is that when you get on a roll and you get closer to playoffs, it's better than being good early. You know, PI had a couple of losses. We're like, what's happening? No, they got it together. They got the athletes. Navarro is not a great team. They're 9-2. They got some good backs. But you know what? This is even Steven, man. I believe PI keeps it going. I'm going to that ball game.
All right, so we will see Doc's Port Isabel pick. Coach, what do you think?
You know, I've seen Navarro before, and they are big and they are fast. You know, it's a good ball club. But this year is going to be the first year that we're going to have 3 teams in the 4th round of the playoffs. I'm going with Port Isabel.
How big was that victory over Sinton? A team that virtually
huge.
Owned the Valley.
Yeah, that gives Port Isabel momentum into the playoffs, right? And you know, Sinton's good. Those Pirates are good, but you know, Port Isabel's better, and I'm glad that Port Isabel's at Ed Couch.
Yeah,
Port Isabel,
man,
right?
that's good.
Yeah,
hey,
so.
when teams like that have a history start winning and getting into the 2nd and 3rd round, people know those teams. They know the Harlans, they know PI, they know Ed Couch. That's good for the Valley.
Hey, for Butch Martinez and all those Port Isabel fans, we're all in agreement that the Tarpons will get past Navarro on Saturday. Now, don't forget, you've got to log on to Facebook.com/956sports and cast your vote. Favorite team, favorite player, best team, most Cinderella-type season. All of that is going to be available for you to vote on at facebook.com/956sports.com. And if you want to take a closer look, see the games through the eyes of our producer, Ray Leal, or get the updated stories by Doc Greg Selber, you can log on to 956 Sports 24/7 a day and get all those details and even get a behind-the-scenes look here at the Huddle. Guys, we're going to wrap this one up. We'll start handing out some awards next week. What do you say, Doc?
I'd say it's going to be good. Remember, elbow up.
Elbow, and it right into the gut, right there.
Like the first show, and it got me hard, man. I'm still got a bruise from there.
Thanks so much for making this part of your night. Thanks to our friends at McDonald's and, of course, Fox 2. We've got more of the Huddle next week at 10 o'clock right here.
Wrong, right there, Doc.
Oh, man.